So Puerto Rico may officially become the 51st state in the United States. The last state to become admitted, I think, is Alaska. Puerto Rico will be a pretty interesting state going down in the future of elections, but Puerto Rico is officially going to be a state in America as of the vote. With of course, Puerto Rico referendum results, Puerto Rico votes in favor of statehood. I like talking about like when something new happens, like a new country state, but Congress hasn't taken steps to admit Puerto Rico as the 51st state. So yeah, Puerto Ricans once they have again voted in favor of making the home island a U.S. state. Of course, this is in final because they have voted again many times to overwhelmingly back statehood, but Congress has never took further action into Puerto Rico in the Union. Majority of voters voted yes, for 52%, so it's actually very close, and 48%. So, yep, with 95% of precincts reporting, Puerto Rico might become the 51st state. Again, this might not happen at all. Again, we all know Puerto Rico has a lot to gain from the state, in addition to having say in presidential elections. It would have 2 seats in the Senate and 5 representatives in the House, similar to a state like Utah. I think, yeah, Utah would have a similar amount of power as Utah, a state like Utah. Because, yeah, Puerto Rico has 2.6 million people. So, yep, it'll have 2 senators, making the 102 seats. Very extraordinary that it would also increase for Texas as well. Puerto Rico becomes a state that would shake up the political dynamics and cutters. Most Puerto Ricans who are moved to the U.S. made by historically black Democrats, but it's not clear how the align would be reliably blue. More experts say it's a swing state. So that means Puerto Rico will be a swing state similar to Florida. Wouldn't be surprised if it will be. But Puerto Rico has been a long wanting to become a state in America. And I think unlike most of the other states, like for example, Chicago becoming the 51st state, D.C. becoming a state which would go against our country's constitution, Puerto Rico is a territory that we own, but is not incorporated as a state. Even though we incorporate Hawaii, which Hawaii is, yeah, very similar to Puerto Rico, I think that Puerto Rico should be as a state. And yeah, this is, basically here, because Puerto Rico will get federal funding, Puerto Rico will no longer be poor because of limited funding. The reason why Puerto Rico is struggling is because of limited funding by the government, because it's not a state. Because Puerto Rico is not a state, it cannot become rich like the rest of the USA. It already has a pretty high GDP per capita as well. So, but it isn't really one here. So yeah, we got Puerto Rico population here, versus U.S. or the most populated U.S. states. Populated states in America, we have the state info ranking by population here. Puerto Rico is on oh wait, we don't have Puerto Rico ranked here, but they have D.C. here. Oh yeah, states and territories by population, this list. Puerto Rico is around Utah, and Utah has four electoral votes. They're saying how have 5 at Connecticut, but Utah and Puerto Rico has the exact same amount, would have the same amount of seats in the office, because Puerto Rico only has 1.19 million people, which is very similar to Utah in terms of votes as well here. So yeah, Puerto Rico would have 6 votes in the election here. Basically making it just as powerful of a state as Utah, Iowa, and Nevada here as well. In terms of states, of course, Nevada is I think some states are projected to gain some, like Utah is projected to gain a vote. I wouldn't be surprised if Utah ends up with 7. No, they end up with 7 seats as well in the House. Here, for example, we have here North Carolina is projected to gain 1 as well easily, and Florida is expected to gain a few over New York as well, giving New York less power and North Carolina more power and Michigan less power. So yep, and it's also been perfect for time because of the Yeah, Minnesota is projected to lose one, and Montana is expected to gain one, and Rhode Island is expected to lose one. But Montana might not gain one if Puerto Rico is made as a state. Because Puerto Rico would have 4 voting states in the House of Representatives. And I think they would want to keep the electoral votes even. Because, yeah, they have total representation is 548. And I don't think, unless they're going to make it basically more than 548, we had to win more than 548 to win. But they never, I don't think they ever made it above 548 for 51 states. Yeah. But, yep, that's basically it. Puerto Rico could become a state in the future. And that's basically it. Goodbye.